お前はもう死んでいる。何?
This was one of the funniest episodes of Mushoku Tensei I've ever watched. Like, come on, what the hell is this? Once again, this episode blew by in what felt like 5 minutes. And now we have to wait another week before we can watch peak fiction again? I can't keep doing this, man. But hey, that means it was an enjoyable episode, and I live for this show. But before we go any further, I have read volumes 1 to 6 of the light novels, so anything I say in this episode is based on those and the anime. We find ourselves in Sylphy's room, and I was surprised to see that her room was much more girly than I expected. Those crystals on the column and whatever those things on the bench and wall are very cute. We then learn more about what Sylphy does and thinks about her new environment. Sharia, the city of magic, is definitely overshadowed by the city's focal point, the Renoir University of Magic. Interestingly enough, there's some sort of emblem of a dragon on the bridge Sylphy was running under. Makes me wonder if the city's history is somehow tied with the dragon god or anything related. Sylphy running every morning to mimic what her beloved Rudy would do shows how much she cares about Rudeus and his impact on her. Rudeus is known to be overestimated by everyone he knows, especially Sylphy. And at the same time, Rudeus thinks very lowly of himself. The contrasting mindset that causes these misunderstandings and inaccurate estimations often happen in this show. Sylphy says she is not learning anything new during her lessons due to learning it all from Rudeus. This episode is really driving home the fact that Sylphy truly looks up to him. From her running habits, knowledge, and the types of people she enjoys being with, Rudeus influences every part of her life. Within the month that Julie has been there, she has already learned to speak the language of the human tongue and cast a bit of incantational spells. Skilled and mindful teachers surround her, but her own ability to absorb the knowledge she is learning is nothing to scoff at. Maybe it has something to do with her dwarf race and their dexterous abilities. It is mentioned in volume 1 of the light novels that different races are accustomed to different types of magic. So the dwarven race would typically have an affinity for earth magic and a hard time with fire magic. This can also be another reason for Julie's growth. Also, I can't help but point out how cute Julie is and the parallels between Eris and Julie. Eris also had this adorable reaction when she started casting her first fireball. Zenoba's change of heart is much more apparent in this episode, as we see him taking the time to take care of Julie. It seems like figurines and his master are not the only thing on his mind anymore. As the anime shows, disaster strikes, and Rudeus turns full beast mode. The sheer importance and respect Rudeus has for Roxy is almost unhealthy. No, it is unhealthy. The guy enshrines his former teacher's panties and practically worships them. But at the same time, the amount of times Rudeus has been saved by Roxy indirectly puts this obsession of his in a better light. But now, Rudeus has pressing matters to attend to, showing our two beast folk, Pursena and Linia, who's boss. Once again, an endearing parallel with Rudeus copying Eris and Saurus' intimidation pose.
にゃーにゃーうるさいんだよ。従属はそんな下手くそな人間語しか喋れないのか?
Nah, Rudeus wants all the smoke. Pursena and Linia's battle strategy is put on display. It mostly consists of Linia doing the brunt damage, flanking the enemy, while Pursena uses the unique magic that the Dolia tribe is accustomed to, the one that Gaius used to paralyze Rudeus in the smuggler's den. No wonder Zenoba couldn't handle him regardless of his immense strength. The domestication of Pursena and Linia is underway. With the captured beastfolk, Rudeus tries an experiment to cure his ED, but to no avail. However, I believe that Pursena picked up on the fact that Rudeus did not have any lust when he was fondling her. It is a known fact that the Dolia tribe, or beastfolk in general, can smell various emotions. This is why she was surprised to see Rudeus do so with no lustful intentions. With a bit of grilling and revelation of the new Roxy religion, the two girls' pride began to crack. Pursena was quick to throw Linia under the bus, but it's only now that we see them fighting like cats and dogs would. But after Rudeus recalls when Gaius and the Dolia tribe falsely accused him of a crime, Pursena and Linia are visibly shaking after hearing the punishment Rudeus went through. For the Dolia tribe, being stripped naked and doused in water is the highest punishment a person could face. Usually, wrongdoers sentenced to this treatment are promptly followed up with execution. The threat of having this done to them was almost enough to domesticate them fully. After Rudeus seeks Mr. Fitz's advice, it ultimately leads to Mr. Fitz visiting Rudeus' room. However, the domestication of Pursena and Linia is still incomplete, as their attitudes do not fit their station. Fitz puts her idea into action. Since when did this show started having body painting as a tag? An ugly tattoo on your face would probably scare anyone, so thus the domestication process is complete. There's this one scene in the episode that I want to talk about. That is when Pursena and Linia learn who Rudeus' master is. When Rudeus mentioned the name Ghislaine, Linia is surprised to hear that name. She even remarked and mentioned the term Sword King in disbelief. As in the first season, when Gaius expressed his shame and dislike for Ghislaine, Linia and Pursena were already at the university. Gaius did not know that Ghislaine was a Sword King then, so Linia and Pursena shouldn't have known this fact. Could it be that Gaius sent a letter to Linia expressing his changed perspective on Ghislaine? If so, I honestly have no words for how well Mushoku Tensei tells their story. They really respect your intelligence by not telling you everything word for word. I believe that is how a good story is told. Fitz and Rudeus have quality time together, and it's almost bittersweet to see Rudeus not recognizing who Fitz is. Fitz nearly allows Rudeus to look at her face, but in a moment of hesitation decides against it. She chalks it up as not wanting to go against Ariel's orders, but I feel something deeper is at hand here. There might be a part of Sylphy who wants Rudeus to discover her on his own. Another possibility is that she fears that Rudeus might not recognize or accept her even if she revealed her face. What would he say? What would happen to our relationship onwards? These thoughts could have crossed her mind. Even Rudeus thought something big would change if he saw Fitz's face. Overall, this episode was unbearably funny, and I had an amazing time watching the interactions between our characters. Pursena and Linia will probably appear more often and be more relevant in the show. The tension between Rudeus and Fitz is hard to watch, but the reveal and realization that both will hopefully come to will be rewarding. The next episode seems to be titled, The Fiancé of Despair. I tried working my mind to see if I could figure out who they were referring to, but I ended up drawing a blank. This next episode of Mushoku Tensei is completely unknown to me, and I simply cannot wait. Thank you for watching. I truly appreciate the support I have been getting on my content since the start of this channel. It really means a lot to me. I will keep doing my best.